Hello and welcome back to today's hurricane outlook discussion recorded on the 16th of November. Today we're going to be discussing Hurricane Iota that has strengthened throughout today and this evening and is expected to be a major hurricane over this evening. We do have a hurricane warning in effect for Honduras and Nicaragua and tropical storm warnings in effect for the northern tip of Honduras and the south tip of Nicaragua, and hurricane warnings, watches and tropical storm warnings for the islands out here. If we take a look at the track, we can see that we do have a better understand where it's going to be, but I feel like it could be just a bit more north as it's a bit stronger than we anticipate, as most of the models, like the H1, hasn't initialized the storm at the right pressure when it was initialized. If we take a look at the track, well, you can see most of the models do bring it into Nicaragua, south of Honduras, and the H12 is the only model that brings it up north and then turns it into Honduras. And if we take a look at the aircraft recon that we're going there right now, we have seen that on the first pass it did find a pressure of, actually, we'll zoom in real quick. What we did find, what the plane did find, is that we had pressure around 964, and we do have like a quite symmetrical wind field, where most of the strong winds are close to the centre of circulation. This is what you'd want to see in a healthy system. So what we can tell from last night and throughout today, it's built healthier in the core, and now we are seeing the radius of maximum winds near the centre, where mostly hurricane force winds are being recorded. If we do take a look at the IR loop today, what we have seen is that we have seen a eye wall trying to warm, but what's happened is this deep convection has just been too strong for this small eye that's trying to form, so it keeps covering up, and until this eye can appear, we'll still see strengthening as it approaches, but we're probably not going to be seeing as faster strengthening if the eye wall clears out. If we take a look at the GFS model, we can see in the 500 geopotential height, we do have a pretty strong system in the mid to upper atmosphere. If we take the next 12 hours out, we can see that the GFS is keeping it west as this high pressure is building over to the has been moving eastwards over Florida for the past couple of days, and has its wind coming around like on the west side, and what we are starting to see now is a bit of high pressure trying to build into Mexico and Texas, and this is going to try and push the storm south as the winds rotate around and try and push the system into Nicaragua. If we carry on going out, we can see on the GFS it does creep just a bit more northwards, and then some of the other models, and it's like just on the border of Honduras and Nicaragua. And unfortunately, this is, I think, only like a couple, like maybe 10-20 miles away from where Hurricane Iota made landfall nearly 2 weeks ago now. So these people are going to be having another major hurricane landfall that's going to bring heavy rain, strong winds, and some storm surge along with it as well, no doubt. If we do take a look after this time, what we got to be starting watching is this storm weakens over the Rocky Mountains and probably will just dissipate over here. But what we would start watching out in the 5-day realm is this gyre that's kind of setting up around here, and what we do have is a bit of energy here that's going to be rotating around this gyre and could be anywhere in this box. The NHC is highlighting this area as 20% over the next 5 days, so we'll have to keep an eye on that area. But what we are most concerned about now is Hurricane Iota that is making landfall in the next 2 days, where we're making landfall in Nicaragua and Honduras. Unfortunately, if we take a look at the Euro model, we can see the same solution playing out, but we got the storm coming a bit more up, turning just a bit northwest, and then coming just below and impacting Nicaragua, but still bringing some damage and effects to Honduras as well. But we can see in this Euro model run that the storm makes landfall in Nicaragua and moves over the Rocky Mountains and kind of dissipates and gets pushed and dives and then dives southwards as a high pressure building over Mexico and Texas, pushing the system southwards. If we take a look at the H-Wharf para, we can see the 10 millibar wind just above the surface, and what we can see is that the system is getting itself some strong winds on it. I think the peak is going to be 108 knots, but the NHC is forecasting the peak to be 140 miles. So this is a Category 4 status hurricane at landfall. But what we can see in the H-Wharf run is that it's probably going to be around maybe borderline Category 4, maybe high-end Cat 3 as it approaches landfall. And what the H-Wharf is suggesting is that it's going to come farther north as it's predicting a stronger system, and it's just going to move north and just scrape the coast for the next few hours, as you can see in the run, and then by 60 minutes it's still scraping the coastline. Until then, this high pressure becomes more dominant, and then not more dominant, it becomes more strong, and then these westerly winds, these southwest winds, are going to push the system into Honduras and probably pop out in the eastern Pacific. If we carry on taking that, we can see the storm dissipating and moving over Honduras and coming out in the eastern Pacific. What we are going to look looking at is the H1 here as well. It kind of has the same story. This storm becomes more organised and compact, and what we can see is that the H1 has a bit of a different solution to what the H1 is predicting. It's bringing it just, I think it's in line with the GFS actually. It just brings it straight into Nicaragua. It comes up north a bit and then does that southwest turn. If we take a look at the current, I just wanted to refer back to this this recon plane here. I don't think we'll be getting another pass, as they had to now make their journey all the way back to the Gulf Coast. But it's interesting to see that throughout the day we've seen the system become more organised, as from this morning's recon pass we did find, or yesterday's recon pass, we did find some strong winds on the far northeast side, and what we've seen is that wind field contracting, and also from the vortex data messaging we have seen the eye contracting more and staying fully closed. So this is bad news for Nicaragua and Honduras, as the system could rapidly intensify even further if this managed to clear out its eye and have more deep convection flying around the centre. What we haven't seen yet today from today is we've seen the pressure fall so fast the winds haven't been able to catch up with the system. So I'd expect these winds to be a bit more higher as the winds catch up to the pressure fall. What I also want to turn your attention to is the outflow that this system has got to help it intensify even further. What we can see is that we've got a pretty good healthy anticyclonic flow sitting up here, and we've got a nice north poleward outflow and a nice southward one, so the system is breathing pretty well, and this could help further in rapid intensification, as it does have a day and a bit more over water, very warm water. And what we are seeing today, I think it's moved over some deep patch of operation heat content as well as sea surface temperatures, but in the Caribbean it is very supportive. The operation heat content is strong up until landfall over this whole entire general area, where the operation heat content is very, very high. If we also take a look as it's making that landfall, we can see that the outflow becomes even more established with that anticyclonic flow here, north, and then some southward outflow maybe as well. So this system's going to be breathing up until landfall and ventilating very well. And on the GFS we get a pressure of 968, and being wide, that spread damage to Nicaragua and Honduras. I don't think the Hurricane Center or Weather Prediction Center have got a thingy, but what we can look is that the wind speed probabilities, as they do not have a rainfall amount of rainfall totals. So what we can see on this graph is that this is percentages at the bottom, so these are your higher percentages of seeing tropical tropical storm force winds. Sorry, I'm just making sure I got that right. This is your higher chance of seeing tropical. All this is high, but the further you go up to the right, the more chance of you seeing those winds. And what we can see is that pretty much, I see all this area highlighted, you could have a very good chance of seeing tropical storm force winds and some heavy rainfall for pretty much, maybe some very heavy rainfall for the coast, but as it moves over as well, we can see some landslides with that heavy rainfall making the ground unstable. I think that's it for today's video. I'll see you in the one tomorrow.